Hello everyone, this is Dalokoh. Welcome to one of our viewers and welcome to Random Ramblings. It's been quite a while since I made a Random Ramblings. I don't even remember the last time I made one now. Maybe 3 weeks? I don't know. It's some other time like that. But I wanted to make this ever since the Gunmetal video, the Gunmetal update was teased before, like right before it came out. But that didn't happen because after I finished doing the voice, the commentary, the post commentary or whatever, I guess pre-commentary, I don't know. The point is, the commentary I did was like getting close to an hour worth of me just talking, and that was just the changes to the weapons and stuff. So instead, I'm just gonna go over a few of the changes to the weapons and the class changes to the spy and the engineer, and I'll go over the skins as well, and maybe the taunts. I don't know, and the maps. I don't know. Anyway, let's get straight to it. So first and foremost, the class changes, how the class works. The spy and the engineer have gotten slightly changed up. So the spy, as an animation, as a visual aesthetic, he no longer hits himself in the face with a revolver anymore, so trying to get those nice ambassador headshots is not going to be friggin' impossible anymore, because the ambassador like smacks you in the face and covers up like 90% of your view, or at least, 100% of the view that matters, the reticle. So now it's like it's a downward kind of reload. He, like, instead of going up and angled upwards to the top left, he aims it down and down to the down left. It's good. It's a lot better, so that way it's not blocking your immediate view of trying to shoot people when you need to reload. Change your disguise. When you're already disguised, only takes half a second instead of the normal 2 seconds, so that it makes disguising extremely fast, extremely snappy. And when you're disguising, in your disguise menu, instead of having to go all the way over and press the minus or the dash key or whatever you want to call it, the one that's beside 0 and beside the equal and plus sign, the plus key, it's that one. Instead of having to reach all the way over to switch your team color for the disguise, you can now just press reload. The other key still works, but reload is much closer to the movement key, so that's a lot more convenient when you're when you need to change team colors very, very fast. Also, to add on, while invisible, the spy receives 20% less damage, so he takes 80% damage when he's cloaked. Under normal circumstances, he now just takes 20% less damage overall when he is cloaked, so that's very interesting. To accompany this, the spy also has a reduced timer on debuffs, or damage over time effects. So things like fire, Jarate, things like that. They now have a shorter timer. I have noticed on spies that like a lit spy, and he's like he cloaks and runs away. He's out like very fast. It's actually a little bit annoying when trying to find spies who are cloaked and refuse to come out of cloak and try to just run away, and then they can, because it's like impossible to find them because the fire effect runs out so fast. It's ridiculous. And finally, for the spy, decrease the damage penalty on sentries sapped by the spy from negative 66% to 33%. So a spy can sap a sentry and then shoot it with his revolver a lot more efficiently. Apparently that was a thing before. I had no idea that sapping a sentry and shooting it would deal less damage to it. I had no idea. I had absolutely no idea that was a thing. Anyway, so that's it for the spy. Now on to the engineer. The engineer, my good sirs, the construction boosting, when you hit a sentry or building, when you hit a building with your wrench, it speeds it up. That, from multiple sources, is now additive instead of multiplicative, meaning it's, overall it's a little bit slower, but, like, generally, it's pretty much the same. Like, it's not that big of a difference. Calculations are based on a 1 times base building speed, so Instead of like everything multiplying on top of each other, it's additively adding on top of each other. You get it, I hope. Apparently, from what I saw, it doesn't really matter until the point of like 3 or 4 engineers start hitting the same building. Then it starts getting noticeably smaller or noticeably slower. But at that point, it's gonna be like built in like 2 seconds at that point or something. I don't know. So to match this, the increased base wrench construction speed on hit boosts by 50%. So they increased it by 50, and so now buildings build 2.5 faster instead of 2 times faster. So it's a little bit faster. So it's okay. It's okay. Teleporters and dispensers redeploy 50% faster than normal. So normally they redeploy 2.5 times faster without being wrench boosted, but they also redeploy 5.5 times faster when you do wrench boosted. So that is incredibly fast. Like, oh, I don't like it. I don't like where I put this dispenser. Let me just pick it up, drop it back down, hit it a few times, and it's back up to being fully built. That is actually that's a really nice gesture, if I do say so. And even better, like when you pick up stuff, the building pickup speed penalty is now only 10% from its original 25%. So now you're not 75% at speed maximum. That wasn't proper English. Instead of being 25% slower than you normally are, you're only 10% slower, which is very noticeable. It's very noticeable. You're not super slow anymore. At least you don't feel super slow. I mean, you still are slower. You're 10% slower, so you're only at 90% speed instead of 100 of normal engineer speed. But I mean, that's 15% faster than it was originally, and it makes quite a difference. You can pick up your stuff and move it faster, and you can redeploy your stuff even faster. So it's great. However, on the nerf side, building repair cost increased from 20% metal to 33% metal to repair 100 HP per wrench hit. So pretty much they reduced the amount of HP metal heals sentries. So when you're repairing your sentry, it takes more metal, but I think that's fair considering all these like incredibly fast like construction and movement stuff that the engineer got buffed on. Having his sentry cost a little bit more to repair is okay, if you ask me. And here's a thing that is for both technically the engineer and the heavy. I didn't even know about this, but from what I've seen, apparently not a whole, like barely anyone knew about this in the first place. Level 2 and level 3 sentries have less passive damage resistance against heavy miniguns. So apparently, heavy miniguns did less damage to level 2 and level 3 sentries, just generally. So, level 2's resistance has been changed from 20% to 15%, and the level 3 has been changed from 33% to 20%. So now miniguns will be a little bit more effective against those extremely annoying sentry nests. So there you go. Heavies are now a tiny little bit more viable against heavy nests. There you go. Happy day for all of them heavy dudes. So, oh dear, I'm okay. That took a while to get by, but those are the main class changes. So here are a few of the weapon changes that I really think should be addressed. The Dead Ringer has been changed quite a bit. Its abilities, like, it still feigns death, obviously, but it's been changed quite a bit. When you trigger the feign death, it instantly goes down to half of the cloak meter. However, due to the way that they made it, they changed it rather. Instead of being a increased drain rate, it is now a decreased drain rate to the point where it still lasts the average 7 seconds, like the normal 7 seconds of invisibility that you would normally, but that is accounting for, you know, the 50% loss of cloak meter immediately. So regaining all of your cloak again is going to be a little bit harder And also, they decrease the cloak regen from 80% to 50%, meaning, again, it's going to be harder to get your cloak back more now. So, and on top of the Dead Ringer also having, like, not gaining, like, 50% metal from a medium ammo pack, or all of his cloak from a full ammo pack, he's, you know, he still gets the smaller amount, or whatever. So, they kind of buffed it, but I mean, like, overall, this is a huge change. Whenever you feign a death with a spy, you get a 3-second speed boost. So you get a disciplinary speed boost, and also the initial attack that triggers the feign death has its damage reduced by 50%. So it's not that ridiculous, like 90% or like 75 or whatever percentage that was before. I remember it was a ridiculous number, but now it's only 50%. So spies can most certainly die when trying to feign death now. Okay, the spy receives a 3-second speed boost when it's triggered, and the damage for also the first 3 seconds, your cloak has no bump shimmer. So whenever you're shot or you bump into someone, you have no shimmer. So it's you know, it's generally kind of the same. And also, the damage resistance on triggering feigned death, it scales over time. It goes from 65% to 20% over 3 seconds. So at the beginning of the the feigned death, you'll take less damage, but over time you will go down to the normal invisibility conditions. So pretty much, as I inadvertently said that, pretty much after those 3 seconds of the speed boost and the no shimmering, yeah, that's it. So the remaining 4 seconds, your normal speed, you take, you still have the 20% armor because that's a natural thing now, and you will shimmer if you are bumped into or shot. And as the final nerf to the Dead Ringer, you cannot pick up any ammo at all while you are cloaked. So that means you can't extend the cloak for longer, so to make it like a makeshift invis watch. So that is the Dead Ringer. It's been changed very, very much, and it's very interesting, and yeah, it's certainly a very big change. I think it's a change that was much needed. But then again, I don't like the spy too much, so might be a little bit of bias going on there. But in any case, here's another big change: the Gunslinger and or mini sentry, or both combined if you want. I don't know. So mini sentries can now be repaired, and now they can be wrench construction boosted, but their base build speed is very slow compared to what they were before. When you wrench boost it, it's a little bit faster than it was before, but if you don't hit it at all, it's gonna just come out real slow, and it's going to discourage engineers from just plopping it down and doing nothing with it. And mini sentries start at 50% health on construction and gain health during construction instead of starting at 100. So that means people can just one-shot a constructing mini sentry and just off it right like immediately, so that way they don't have to deal with it, like laying down like 2 shots on it and then having less shots for the engineer and so on and so forth. So it makes mini sentries less annoying. And finally, metal gibs destroyed from mini sentries no longer grant any metal. Personally, I don't think that's such a big deal, because I'm pretty sure the mini sentry only dropped 3 pieces of gibs and they only gave 7 metal, so at best you were getting like 21, maybe 4, so that would be 28 metal. That's not too much, so it's not that big of a deal for me. So yeah, there you go. So 2 big changes. And oh dear, this is going on for quite a bit. So I'm just gonna skip right over to the Vaccinator. The Vaccinator was heavily changed. At first I thought it was a pretty big nerf, and I still kind of do think it is a nerf, but it's been changed heavily. So the Vaccinator no longer just blocks crits normally. That is now gone. The normal healing resistance no longer blocks crits, and they really changed how the Uber works. So the Ubers, its Ubers take exactly 1 bar. So it has 4 bars and it takes exactly 1 bar. Instead of like, while you're in the middle of charging one and then you activate your Uber, it just completely gets rid of the one that you're charging up and just like it erases that and uses the next bar. So they got rid of that. It takes exactly 1 bar of your Uber, or 1 bar of your 4 bars. And so here's the like huge difference. So the Vaccinator now deploys a 2.5 second of a bubble of 75% damage resistance of the type that you chose, and full crit resistance to that type as well. The bubbles don't disappear when the medic stops healing the person, so you can put multiple bubbles on the same person. So you can put bullet, explosion, and fire on the same dude, or you can put 4 bubbles of like bullet, or like 4 bubbles on different people of like bullet and explosion or whatever, that lasts for 2.5 seconds. So that is very interesting. Vaccinator got a nerf in the form of not building Uber at the same rate, no matter how many other mediguns were healing. So now it builds Uber slower when other mediguns are targeting the same person and overhealing a maxed overhealed person. Decrease the bonus. So they decrease the amount of health a medic gets when their patient is dealt the correct damage resistance, or dealt the correct damage with the properly selected damage resistance. So instead of getting 25% of the incoming damage, you only get 10% of the incoming damage back as health. So it makes it less of a tanking kind of thing for the medic, which is okay. I mean, that barely came into effect for me. Maybe only once or twice I was saved by the healing mechanic of the Vaccinator, so it's not that big of a deal for me. And here's the big thing. They added a 66% decreased Uber build rate while healing an overhealed patient. So as soon as you start overhealing someone, you build 66% slower. You build Uber 66% slower. That is ridiculously slow. It's like, whoa, dude, calm down. I need to build this Uber. Hurt yourself or something. Like, the Vaccinator now benefits probably the most out of people hurting themselves, because it will build slower. I think it builds slower than a normal medigun at that point. Pretty sure. If not, then around equal to a stock medigun. So that's pretty devastating for the Vaccinator, considering its whole shtick was like to build Ubers like extremely fast. Like, oh, I got Ubers for days, and you have the bubbles and stuff. So Vaccinator's heavily changed. I think it's a very interesting change. I don't know, like I tried it, and I mean, nothing's really changed in terms of me. I still get screwed over by getting hit with like all 3 different damage types plus melee, getting meleeed all the time. So it's just like whatever. And finally, the last one that I really want to talk about is the Dalokoh bar. It's useful now. It has a 10-second cooldown now, which is kind of weird if it were the old Dalokoh bar, but now you can toss it. You can toss the Dalokoh bar for a small med kit. So now you don't have to watch like a medic burn to death and like, oh, sorry, I'm using this chocolate bar. Whoops. Now you can go, oh no, medic, here, have this chocolate bar. Aw, danke. And also, in addition to giving you a cap, like increasing your maximum health to 350, it overheals you to 400. I mean, that's like 50. Yeah, it gives you 50 health that slowly decreases over time, like a normal overheal. But that's not that big of a deal. But the throwing, you can toss the Dalokoh bar. It's so good. The only problem is on the strange Dalokoh bar, you can't put a allied healing done on that. Not yet. I hope you can, but you can't do that yet. Anyway, so This video is freaking 20 minutes long, so I'm gonna end it here. Oh my goodness. I guess I didn't get to talk about the skins or the contracts or anything like that. So perhaps that'll come out in another video, perhaps on Wednesday or something like that. So I thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys later. Next time, hopefully, will be another gunmetal video. If not, it will be a leave a loadout video. So have a great day and a good night. Bye.